Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're going to wait a few more minutes for more of our audience to join, but just want to welcome you. You're in the right place, and we'll be with you momentarily. Thank you. If you've just joined us, we are waiting a few more moments for the rest of our audience to log in, and we will be with you momentarily. Thank you for being here. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I am Stacy Cleach, past president of the AIA New Jersey chapter and past president of the Architects League of Northern New Jersey. I'm delighted to welcome you today to the AIA New Jersey Historic Archives Committee presentation of a history of AIA Architects League of Northern New Jersey from 1928 until the present. AIA New Jersey is the northernmost of the six sections. The Architects League of Northern New Jersey is the northernmost of the six sections of AIA New Jersey. And today is the first webinar presented on one of the six sections. Participants today will receive one AIA continuing education credit for participating. And if you are a registered participant, we already have your AIA number and you will automatically be recorded as present by the Zoom software. Today's program has been researched and designed by Paul Bryan, AIA, with support from Joyce Gattuccio, Associate AIA Chairperson for the Historic Archives Committee, and Alina Shervinsky, AIA, past president of the AIA Central New Jersey section. Paul Bryan, AIA, is a senior architect with SNS Architects and Engineers in Montvale, New Jersey. He served as the Architect League Board of Trustees from 2010 to 2020 and was the president of the league in 2015. During his tenure, Paul also served as editor of the League Line and was the league's historical archivist. He currently serves as a charter member of the AIA New Jersey's Historical Archives Committee. Paul, I'm excited to turn the program over to you.
Thank you, Stacy. Let's begin. To commemorate the 125th anniversary of AIA New Jersey, the AIA New Jersey Historical Archives Committee is presenting webinars throughout 2025 to document the history of each component of the organization. Today, we begin with AIA Architects League of Northern New Jersey. The league has over 600 members in its section, which covers the counties of Bergen, Hudson, Passaic, and Sussex counties.
Paul, I forgot something.
Yes.
Members of the audience, feel free to write questions for Paul in the Q&A at any time.
Yes.
And we will be answering the questions at the end of the presentation. So as soon as something pops into your head, you can type it right into the Q&A.
Thank you, Stacy. It is certain that we are now upon the threshold of a great development and growth in this territory, the major part of which will consist of construction work, the size and character which is definitely coming within the scope of the architect. Therefore, I am now writing to ascertain if you would be interested in being the purpose of discussing and considering some form of organization by the architects in this vicinity, as may be planned, and holding future meetings, therefore, as may be decided. So read the letter of March 23rd, 1928, from Harry Lucht of Lucht and Anderson Architects in Cliffside Park, sent to 100 architects in the northern New Jersey region. On April 12th, 1928, interested architects gathered for a meeting at the Palm Gardens in Teaneck, and thus the Architects League of Northern New Jersey was born. The impetus for the great development and growth was, of course, the George Washington Bridge, for which construction had begun in October of 1927. The bridge opened to traffic in 1931, forever changing the landscape of the Bergen County area and points northwest. In addition to Lucht, Clarence Tabor, H.G. Anderson, A.L. Vegliante, and others founded the league with 18 members. In November of 1928, the organization was officially incorporated. By April 1929, membership had grown to 39. The annual dinner in 1930 made the pages of Pencil Points, a national magazine for architects and allied professionals. In the early days, Architects League promotional materials consisted of either blue line prints or blueprints, often spiced with a bit of humor. You could see the beer mug, for example. For the 1931 annual dinner, the evening's menu was prepared in the form of a whimsical construction specification. You could see that at the bottom right with the little cartoons. In 1931, the Architects League endorsed the Bergen County Chamber of Commerce initiative to promote the design of better buildings for roadside markets. Such markets were springing up along the new highways that were constructed to link the area with the George Washington Bridge in New York City. By 1932, the league was well established, and membership growth necessitated the creation of a monthly newsletter. Clarence Tabor, a charter member of the league, thus established Quid Nunc, Latin for what now. The monthly newsletter was originally issued on an 8.5 by 11 format, but transformed into a folded 4-page pamphlet, supplemented with Tabor's whimsical, witty words and sketches. The league also took up causes of national prominence. In May 1929, the Architects League had begun a formal protest of AIA's endorsement of the Architects Small House Service Bureau, with a lengthy article and pencil points that garnered reaction from around the country. By 1932, the AIA withdrew its endorsement, and the league celebrated with a ceremonial burning of stock plans, as you could see in the center. By 1935, the Great Depression was in full force, with several references in the Architects League archives to bank failures and foreclosures. It was decided the league would no longer offer meals during the regular meetings. Supper could be had at an earlier hour by those that wanted to have it at a cost of 50 cents and up. The New Jersey Architectural Board requested recommendations from the league with regard to unemployment relief, and an architects emergency committee. Harry Lucht, who obtained work with the Treasury Department in Washington, wrote a letter to Clarence Tabor. "A job for everybody, so saith the sage Franklin D. And yesterday, hundreds of us received notices that our services were no longer required. When we went home last Sunday, there was a sign on the Cliffside Park Title Company door, closed, and we had some money of ours there." The advent of World War II in 1941 raised concerns among league members regarding the future of the profession. Meeting minutes reflect discussions on problems facing the architectural profession due to the war and the serious effects which may result upon its conclusion, and the tendency of government, agencies, and bureaus to expand with dire results upon the architectural field. It is agreed that a strong, unified national organization is necessary to cope with the problem. With regard to the war effort, it was the consensus that architects could best serve for civilian defense as individual workers in their local communities, but should tender their services and skills to the state and nation in any way that they may be called. As the war concluded, the league's focus remained on the defense of architecture. The Navy Department's proposal to raise historic buildings at St. John's College to create a football field was particularly decried as an uncultured act of vandalism, aesthetically and spiritually. After the war, the league passed a resolution calling for the federal government to remove wartime controls and restrictions on building. The Architects League was also called on local freeholders to consider New Jersey architects for county projects that had been awarded to New York firms. Due to the post-war building boom, the 1950s began on a high note. As Tabor put it, this territory constitutes one of the richest areas of building activity in the United States, particularly in homes and garden apartments and the industry and business thereby created. The Architects League focused on raising the public profile of architects through the regular publication of the Bulletin, which was partially supported by ad revenue. The league had not had a regular newsletter since Tabor's Quid Nunc back in the 1930s. The league also prepared ads and articles for publication in the Bergen Evening Record. In 1954, discussion began regarding the sponsoring of a scholarship in architecture. Ms. Joan DeReese, a Columbia University student from Englewood, was awarded the league's first scholarship in 1955. In 1956, the Bulletin was turning a profit, and the decision was made to increase circulation to architects throughout the entire state. The new publication, complete with dazzling color artwork, debuted in September of 1957 as Jersey Architect. The November 1957 edition of Jersey Architect included a feature on Frank Lloyd Wright, complete with firsthand accounts of his visit to the Architects Display Center in Mountainside, New Jersey. When he strode into the crowded assembly room, the audience, comprising approximately 400 architects and their guests, rose as one and applauded. He accepted this applause graciously, as a man does when he is accustomed to frequent acclamation. He doffed his broad-brimmed Western-style hat, removed his cloak-like coat, and handed hat, coat, and cane to one of the members of the reception committee. While being introduced, he took a flower from the bouquet on the table and examined it carefully. He removed the petals slowly and studied the interior, almost like a curious child who is seeing a flower for the first time. The League publication professionally covered statewide architectural news, including the hijinks that ensued at the annual conventions in Asbury Park. The magazine also covered prominent architects in the state, such as Eleanor Patterson, who apprenticed under Wright and led the first woman-owned architecture firm in New Jersey. The publication continued into 1964, when it was then continued by the New Jersey Society of Architects as New Jersey Architecture. In 1958, under the direction of Albert Halsey, the League sponsored adult education courses in Ridgewood, the technical training for the junior draftsman, information, what a layman should know. The League's efforts to promote the profession culminated in 1960's Beautiful Bergen, a traveling exhibit which showcased noteworthy examples of local architecture. The exhibit received national publicity. Throughout the 1960s, the Architects League maintained a strong presence at the annual conventions of the New Jersey Society of Architects. Featured here are photos from the 1960 event with Architects League President Merrill Martin in attendance. In the 1960s, the League looked for innovative ways to build membership and meeting attendance. An open forum was held in 1962 on various topics, such as writing specifications and filing liens. Harry Lucht hosted a meeting at his historic brownstone in Wyckoff. Member Bernard De Paula hosted a Hawaiian luau pictured here at his lakeside home in Oakland. On the legislative front, the League worked to oppose bills in the state Senate regarding the use of stock plans for school construction. The minutes also reflect heated discussion regarding a ten-fly design ordinance recently passed. For decades, the New Jersey chapter of AIA and the New Jersey Society of Architects operated alongside each other as two separate organizations. 1964 brought renewed discussion of unifying the society with the AIA, and in 1965, the merger took place. Finally, the distinct chapters within the state society were officially affiliated with AIA. Prior to the merger, AIA New Jersey existed solely as a state chapter with no sections. Architects League member Arthur Rigola was recognized for his efforts regarding the merger when he received the Vegliante Award that year. But perhaps the biggest change for the League came later in the decade. Faced with dwindling membership and a lack of volunteers for its committees, the Hudson County chapter of the New Jersey Society of Architects began investigating consolidation options with neighboring sections. At the time, the Architects League was the largest of the 8 AIA sections in New Jersey. There are 6 sections today. They had 116 members, and the Hudson County chapter had 28 members. Negotiations with the Architects 1969, and by the end of that year, the merger of the 2 sections was complete. Although names such as Architects Confederation and North Jersey chapter were proposed for the consolidated group, the name Architects League of Northern New Jersey remained. The 1970s saw a robust focus on education of the architect, as well as educational outreach to the public at large. A technical training committee was formed, and the League sponsored 2 public education courses, with the first classes taking place at Dumont High School. The League also established a speakers bureau, with members volunteering to speak at various schools and civic organizations. In 1977, the Architects League was honored to have the state's annual convention held within its territory at the Playboy Club in Vernon, nestled in the hills of Sussex County. Over 1,200 architects attended. Throughout the 1980s, the Architects League continued to build on past traditions. A new traveling exhibit was developed with boards describing the history of architecture, the history of the League, and professional services. The League also created the Careers in Architecture program, which included a tour of the NJIT School of Architecture and seminars on drafting and design. With the increasing use of computers in the workplace, a computer users group was formed. Throughout its existence, the territory of the Architects League was somewhat fluid. In the mid-1980s, its boundaries extended beyond the lines of its current territory and included some communities within Morris and Essex counties. The current boundaries, strictly following county lines, went into effect in the 1990s. The growth of computer use in the 1990s brought profound changes to the profession and society. When an article in the local paper implied that CAD gave an average homeowner an ability to design complete structures, the League offered a rebuttal. Drawings are only part of the services that an architect provides for a client, wrote League President Peter Pagani. CAD no more makes a homeowner into a competent designer than a video flight simulator makes him a fighter pilot. And as the turn of the century approached, the Architects League of Northern New Jersey established its presence on the World Wide Web. Jersey Architects ceased publication in the 1960s. The League newsletter took various forms and at times revived the names The Bulletin and Quid Nunc. Eventually, the newsletter was named League Line and continued as a monthly publication into the 2000s. Composing, typing, printing, mailing this newsletter on a monthly basis was an arduous task, and the increased use of email was quickly making the format obsolete. In 2003, the monthly League Line was revamped to become a quarterly publication. The new format allowed for time to develop in-depth news articles on relevant architectural issues, which could then be professionally designed and printed in color and with photographs. AIA National took notice. In July 2005, AIA National Best Practices listed the League Line as the model for state and local components for the successful creation of newsletters. The first issue of the new quarterly League Line marked the passing of groundbreaking member Eleanor Pedersen. In 2004, AIA New Jersey created the Michael Graves Lifetime Achievement Award. Martin Santini of the Architects League and Bob Cosarelli of Newark and Suburban personally met with Graves to request that he design the award, and he agreed. The award is the highest and most prestigious honor that AIA New Jersey can bestow on an individual. In 2006, Architects League members had the privilege of modeling jewelry from the Frank Gehry collection at Tiffany's in Riverside Square. The League continued its annual golf outing, and its members supported the AIA National Convention in Los Angeles. Into the 2010s, the League maintained robust participation in local, regional, and national events, including the annual Lego Night at the HArC Heights Library, a tour of the new school in New York City, and the Grassroots Leadership Convention in Washington, D.C. After pausing due to the COVID pandemic, League activities resumed into the 2020s with historical tours throughout its territory, including the Radburn community in Fairlawn and Patterson landmarks, Hinchliffe Stadium and Lambert Castle. In 2025, the League, in conjunction with AIA Newark and Suburban, hosted the 35th annual trade show, which annually provides several educational seminars and puts members face-to-face with vendors, offering the latest information on building materials and technology. This year, it was rebranded as Expo 25. The Architects League remains steadfast in fostering future professionals through its scholarship programs, supported largely through annual fundraising events. The annual golf outing, which started in 1999, has since evolved into the mini golf outing in 2023 and a bowling event in 2024. The Architects League awarded its first academic scholarship on May 19, 1955, to Miss Joan DeReese of Inglewood, a student at Columbia University School of Architecture. Since that time, the League has developed a scholarship program that includes the Clarence Tabor Memorial Scholarship Award, the Albert O. Halsey Memorial Award, the Architects League Scholastic Achievement Award, and the Architects League Scholarship for High School Seniors. In addition to our scholarships, the Architects League has legacy programs to honor some of our members who have passed. Ted Kessler, AIA, was a longtime Architects League member who is remembered for his generosity to the profession. He was well known for leading architectural students and others on walking tours throughout Manhattan. The Ted Kessler Walking Tour, led by Joe David, remains a tribute to Kessler's memory and legacy, with new tours premiering in the fall and then repeating the following spring. Each November, the League honors the memory of past President Arthur Davis through the Arthur L. Davis Lecture Series. The series features a speaker or a topic of notable importance in the profession. Davis was a man of great humor and a great lover of all things cultural. Following Arthur's passing in 2000, his wife Lenore, until her death in 2012, provided annual donations to the League to support the lecture series. Since that time, the League has honored the Davis legacy by continuing this event. Since 1933, the League has presented the Anton L. Vegliante Award, its highest honor, to members who distinguish themselves for their contribution to the advancement of the profession. Anton Vegliante came to this country from Italy and started his career as a painting contractor. He taught himself English and became an architect. He served as vice president of the League from 1928 to 1931, when he died at age 47. Upon his death in 1931, his will stipulated that a bequest be made to the League Trust, and that the annual interest income from the trust account would be used to make an award to a member exhibiting extraordinary service to the League and to the profession. Mr. Vegliante's strive for excellence remains our inspiration in the years since his passing. Currently, the Architects League is the proud administrator of the Diane and Ben Lee Design Education Fund. The privately funded program provides annual grants of up to $2,500 to schools, teachers, groups, or individuals actively pursuing design curriculum in their school or educational entity that directly benefits New Jersey K-12 students. Design education develops critical problem-solving skills and includes programs related to fields such as art, architecture, interior design, graphic design, product design, set design, fashion design, or illustration. To celebrate the 125th anniversary of AIA New Jersey this year, and in preparation for the League's 100th anniversary in 2028, several longtime members are being interviewed for their thoughts and reflections on their tenure in AIA. To date, we are honored to have the participation of League past presidents Joseph Checco, Martin Santini, and Al Zaccone. This concludes the presentation on the history of the AIA Architects League of Northern New Jersey. Anyone with information, documents, or images to share, please contact the Historical Archives Committee at aianjhistoricalarchives@gmail.com. Thank you.
Paul, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. As a personal member of the Architects League since the early 90s, it was wonderful to take a walk through our history and learn so much more about the League before I joined. At this time, anyone in the audience is welcome to type a question into the Q&A, and I will read them out to Paul. And we do have a few questions to get us started.
Great.
So first question comes from Joyce Gattuccio. Joyce would like to know, where did the name Architects League come from? Because it's unique compared to the other sections which are identified by location.
It is. I honestly do not know the origin of the name itself, but I do know why it was never changed. And the reason why it's never been changed, even when we had the merger with the Hudson County Society, it was actually stipulated in Anton Vegliante's will that if the Architects League of Northern New Jersey ever ceased to exist, that the funds that he had contributed would then be reverted back to his family. So that was,
Wow, well, that's
I think, it
good
was never
motivation.
written anywhere that it couldn't be changed, but I really feel strongly that's the reason why it wasn't changed.
Interesting. During your research, Paul, were there any particular Architects League members who stood out as being very influential to the history of the league?
Oh, absolutely. There's actually two that I think are just equally important in terms of their contribution to the league. One would be Harry Lucht. Without him writing his letter, there wouldn't have been an Architects League, at least as swiftly as when it occurred back in the 1920s. And also Clarence Tabor, who actually was, you could tell from the archives, was very, very good friends with Harry Lucht. I relate more to Lucht as an architect because he was very didactic in his approach. And he had a very strong focus on professional communications. And, with my time on the league line, that kind of follows through. I could relate to that. But something about Clarence Tabor with his humor and wittiness and charm, I think is equally as important to developing the league to what it is today.
Thank you. Let's see. You mentioned the Hudson County Society of Architects merging with the Architects League in 1969.
Yes.
Do you have any other historical information that you could share about the Hudson County Society?
Yeah, the Historical Archives Committee is currently seeking more information on the Hudson County Society. From what we researched, there is a mention in 1903 of the formation of the Hudson County Society of Architects. But then there's nothing after that. And that could very likely be because of World War I. Because in 1922, all of a sudden, there's a newspaper article talking about the formation of the Hudson County Society of Architects. So at that 1922 date, that's when not only were they forming again, but they were becoming associated with the New Jersey Society of Architects. So we're not exactly sure if it's the same group, if it was two different groups, or maybe just a pause because of the war. And then it restarted again. But we're still looking into that. And, if there's anyone in there, especially in Hudson County, who has any information that they could share with us, we'd be happy to receive it.
Thank you. So since the Architects League has perhaps a little bit longer legacy than some of the other sections in New Jersey, are there some events that used to be league events or league publications or league traditions that evolved into being state functions as the formation of different sections evolved?
Well, right off the top of my head, I think of Jersey Architect, which was a league publication. But because the section's own newsletter, which had been the bulletin, was so successful, and particularly with raising ad revenue, they decided to expand it to the entire state. And it wasn't even just AIA members, it was also sent to any registered architect in the state. And they covered statewide news too. It wasn't just specifically news for the league. After a while, the state actually took that and ran with it, and they changed the name to, I guess, the more politically correct New Jersey Architect. But that's one example. I know I can't say that I have information, but I do know about at one time there was talk or development of a trade show statewide, but because the Architects League in Newark Suburban Show is such a strong presence, that's something that the state actually hasn't taken up, or possibly they did and then decided not to any further. I'm not sure about that, but those are two examples of where the Architects League seems to have influence over some of the things that the state does.
Thank you. Are you aware historically of any times when there was consideration of further? I know you reported on times when our boundaries changed. Were
Yes.
there times when there were consideration of changing boundaries or additional mergers with other sections that ended up not happening, or any other types of like exploration, but then it stayed its course as the Architects League as we know it?
Not that I am aware of. The thing about the territories, and as I said, it was fluid, is because if you look at we scroll through again, you could see on the cover of the bulletin they actually reference Rockland County, New York, as part of the territory. So I think it was really up to whoever was in charge of the league at that time as to where our territory actually was. So again, there were really no hard and fast borders. I know there are maps from the 30s, I believe, that were put out by what was then the suburban chapter. They indicate that they had all of Morris County and most of Essex County, whereas the league has records that indicates no, we have part of Morris County and we have part of Essex County. So there seemed to be like a friendly competition amongst the sections.
Well, I think that competition still exists today, because I'm going to mention that during the time that you and Joyce and Alina have been working so diligently, and your time as an archivist before this committee was even formed, we have heard over and over again that the Architects League has been remarkably comprehensive in preserving photographs and historical documents and financial records. And the other sections and even the chapter are envious of the archive that has been maintained by the forefathers of the Architects League. And your diligence in locating these documents, compiling things, and bringing this history to us today. So I think that competition is alive and well. And thank you, Paul, for keeping the Architects League on top.
Stacy, I have to just mention, I appreciate that, but I do have to give credit. I was the collector of the information only because of boxes that were stored in George Held's attic at his office in Clifton that all of a sudden arrived on my desk. Here, Paul, take this, do what you will with it. And then I did. I took it and we did a very nice issue in the league line about the history of the Architects League. And that in large part is a basis of what has been presented today.
Fantastic. Let's see. Bob Cazarelli offers his appreciation to you, Paul, for your dedication to AIA and your excellent historical presentation.
Thank you, Bob.
Let's see. And Al Zacone expresses his appreciation also.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Chris Brand says thank you to Paul. Any other questions from the audience? Please feel free to type in your questions. I'm going to ask a question, Paul.
Sure.
Of the years that you have been a member, you have been an active volunteer throughout, whether you were in a league line capacity, a trustee, an advisor. I know even during my presidency, I always could rely on you to be another set of eyes and ears to make sure that we were doing things in the right way and we hadn't made an error in some way. What things would you mention in our current architectural activity that you think are really legacy types of events that in another 125 years that the Architects League of today will be known for?
Wow. If I could predict that far into the future, I would hope that the Ted Kessler walking tour is still a thing. Joe David does an excellent job with that every year, and so much credit goes to him for doing that. It's a lot to put together, and he's so informative. He had a lecture a few months ago for the Architects League. I hope that that gets recorded and somehow archived. There I go again, the historian. But I do hope that that's preserved, and I hope it's a tradition that continues. And you know, when Joe eventually retires, which that'll be a long time from now, but when he does, I hope that there's someone who could take the reins and keep that going.
I agree. That was a great one. Al Zacone offers, in the early 1990s, interest in Atlantic City was waning, so the architectural convention saw attendance falling, and the League Newark and Suburban Trade Show strengthened to what it is today. Joe Bruno was the archive holder when he was in George's office at the time that you reference.
Mm. Yeah, thank you. Thank you to Joe Bruno.
Bill Martin offers his thank you and a note of how amazing today's presentation was.
Thank you.
Farah Salim says, thank you, Paul, for a great presentation. Andy Jordan, your dedication and historical knowledge is refreshing. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. We answered that one. Okay, so in the absence of additional questions, Paul, do you have anything else that you want to offer?
Well, we do have more webinars.
Yeah.
We have
Oh,
one.
wait a minute. We have another question. Sorry.
Okay.
Chris Brand would like to know, how long did the annual supper happen?
How long?
For how many years?
How many years? Well, the annual supper is what we would today call the what do we call it? The inaugural. Stacy, help me out with this.
Oh,
What do
the
we call it?
installation
The
dinner.
installation dinner, exactly.
Right.
That's
Oh,
that's
so
what it
it's
was.
still happening, Chris. It's still
Yes.
happening.
Still happening.
Chris, we'll see you in January.
Absolutely.
Sean Olson says, thank you very much. Very informative. Reagan Young would like to know if the past issues of Architecture New Jersey have been digitized.
As we come across them, we do archive them. Unfortunately, we don't have a full collection to my knowledge, but we're definitely working on that. It's something we're definitely, we always have our eyes open to any information. We have found old publications from AIA National, such as the Octagon, that make reference to the different sections throughout New Jersey. We always scan them, make sure we have them in our archive. So it's a building process. We actually formed, I believe, it was 2023 when Joyce called me and asked me if I was interested. And we've been building it ever since. We've been searching newspapers.com, which is a great resource. But we really love when we get information from members, like old program announcements, photographs, anything. You know, if you have an award, you know, take a picture of it, send it to us. You know, we'd love to have that in our archive.
And I will mention that usmodernist.org has
Absolutely.
an archive of AIA New Jersey magazine.
Huh.
It looks like we've got from 1967 until 1993. And I will, now that you brought that up, Reagan, I will include a new blog post in the next newsletter to access this information with the link.
Excellent.
All right, let's see. Alina says, we're grateful to the Architects League for keeping such incredible records of its history. Thanks to their dedicated members, and all of AIA New Jersey benefits from this history. Cheryl sends her congratulations on a great presentation. Tyler says, although I'm now a Florida architect, I grew up in Bergen County. I enjoyed hearing the architectural history of the area. Thanks, Dr. Ty Patek.
Great.
Alina, thank you, Paul, for your hard work researching AIA New Jersey history. Reagan also offers former AIA New Jersey or Architect New Jersey magazine editor Phil Kennedy Grant would be a good resource. Yes, Phil was
Absolutely.
involved in the archive that we have with U.S. Modernists. Phil put that whole archive together.
Wonderful.
Al Zacone is going to look through his old files and drop off whatever he has.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
I'm going to do
Great
the
job.
same because I would love to, make sure the history is protected. So I'm going to do the same.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Excellent. So we will continue to see if there's any other questions put in there, but I want to again thank Alina Shervinsky, Joyce Gattuccio, and Paul Bryan especially for not only today's presentation, but for working on this archive for the whole state and for the local sections. Some of the sections don't have access to the same records, so by tapping into doing your interviews with some of our long-term members, excuse me, has been extremely beneficial, and we will be sharing that information on our YouTube channel as it becomes available. I would also like to mention that coming up on June 17th, we will have the history of AIA West Jersey from 1925 to the present, and registration is already open for that event. It will also be held at the same time at 12:30. And on September 16th, we will have the history of AIA Central New Jersey, also presented as a midday webinar like we have today. Today's presentation is being recorded, and we have a full video with Paul's commentary, and that material will be posted on our YouTube channel, and you can look in a future AIA New Jersey newsletter for the links to be able to view that in the future or on demand anytime, or to share it with anyone who wasn't able to join us today. Paul, I don't have any other questions for you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart because you know how dear the Architects League is to me. So on behalf
Absolutely.
of all of our past presidents, our members, and our whole fan club, thank you so much for this comprehensive presentation. It was fantastic.
Thank you so much, and thank you to all who attended.
Have a great day. Oh, one more. Thank you, Paul, from Joe Totaro.
Okay. Thank you, Joe.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.